Infinity War. The greatest battle in the Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't begin with a bang. It began with an idea, and an idea that the universe was too full, that there weren't enough resources for everyone, and that the only solution was to erase half of all life. Thanos, the Titan, didn't want power or chaos. He believed he was saving the universe. His method? Simple, brutal. Find 6 ancient forces, the Infinity Stones, and with one snap, wipe out half of existence. Each stone holds primal cosmic power, space, time, reality, power, mind, soul. Alone, they're dangerous. Together, they reshape reality itself. While Earth's heroes rise to stop him, Avengers, Guardians, Wizards, geniuses, Thanos tears through the galaxy. He crushes civilizations, slays gods, sacrifices his own daughter, and not even the combined strength of Earth's mightiest can stop him. Then comes the snap. With all 6 stones in his gauntlet, Thanos snaps his fingers, and half of all life across the universe disintegrates into dust. No speeches, no celebration, just silence and a satisfied smile. But that's only half the story. 5 years later, in a world drowning in grief, the survivors attempt the impossible, to undo what's been done. They travel through time, stealing the stones from the past, rewriting history itself. And finally, it all leads to one last stand. The Battle of Earth. Heroes return. Armies clash. Thanos rises again. But in the end, it's not brute force that wins. It's sacrifice. Tony Stark makes the ultimate choice. He snaps his fingers, wiping out Thanos and his army at the cost of his own life. The Infinity War was more than a fight. It was the end of an era. I think that only 5% of fast people can like this video and subscribe to this channel before time runs out. Comment done, so I know you did it on time. The Great Titan War. Long before the walls, long before Eren Yeager ever threw a punch, the world of Attack on Titan was already broken. Nearly 2,000 years ago, a single event shattered history, a force beyond comprehension. Was it a devil, a god, a parasite? No one knows for sure. But from that moment, Titans were born. Ymir became the first. When she died, her power split into 9 Titans, passed down through blood and bone, locked within the Eldian people. Armed with these monsters, the Eldian Empire rose to power. They didn't just conquer the world. They reshaped it, erasing cultures, rewriting history. To the Marleyans, they were devils. To themselves, chosen by fate. But no empire lasts forever. Rivalries within Eldia weakened it. Greed and betrayal opened cracks in their golden age. And the Marleyan nation, once victims, struck back. With help from traitorous Eldians, including the powerful Tiber family, Marley stole 7 of the 9 Titans. With them and military precision, they brought the Eldian Empire to its knees. The survivors fled to an island, Paradis, led by King Fritz, who took the founding Titan and disappeared behind 3 enormous walls. Walls made of colossal titans, hidden in stone. And then he delivered a threat to the world. Come for us, and I will flatten the earth. The world didn't forget. Marley used the stolen titans as living weapons, brainwashing Eldian children and turning them into bombs. The truth never stays buried, because the Great Titan War never really ended. It simply paused. Everything that happens in Attack on Titan, every fight, every death, every twist, is just the echo of that ancient war. A war built on fear, revenge, and lies. And in the end, it's not about who wins. It's about whether the world can ever escape the curse of the Titans. Galactic Civil War. This is the war that changed the galaxy. The Galactic Civil War is the central conflict of the original Star Wars trilogy. A battle between tyranny and rebellion, dictatorship and hope. It begins with the rise of the Galactic Empire, forged from the ruins of the Old Republic after the Clone Wars. At its heart is Palpatine, a master manipulator who used fear and emergency powers to turn a democracy into a Sith-controlled regime, almost overnight. Above the surface, it looks like order, but underneath, control, terror, and total domination. Darth Vader, once a Jedi Knight, now serves as Palpatine's ruthless enforcer, but the fire of rebellion still burns. In secret, dissidents, senators, and freedom fighters form the Rebel Alliance, a desperate coalition willing to risk everything to bring the Empire down. Their first major blow? Stealing the plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star, a space station the size of a moon, capable of annihilating entire planets. And it proves that power on Alderaan, wiping out billions in seconds. But hope rises at the Battle of Yavin. A young pilot named Luke Skywalker, guided by the Force, makes an impossible shot, destroying the Death Star and giving the galaxy its first real victory. The war, however, is far from over. The Empire strikes back, literally. The rebels suffer heavy losses, Han Solo is captured, Leia is tortured, and Luke learns a devastating truth. The man he's fighting is his own father. But everything changes at the Battle of Endor. As the rebels launch a final assault on a second Death Star, Luke confronts both Vader as the Emperor. And in a final act of redemption, Vader turns on his master, saving his son and sacrificing himself. The Death Star is destroyed, the Emperor is defeated, and the Empire begins to collapse. The Galactic Civil War wasn't just a military conflict. It was the fight to reclaim freedom, to restore light in the face of darkness, and to prove that even in the shadow of tyranny, hope is stronger than fear. The Time War. The last great Time War wasn't fought for territory or power. It was a war for reality itself, a temporal cataclysm between two unstoppable forces, the godlike Time Lords of Gallifrey and the relentless, genocidal Daleks. But this wasn't just war. This was a collision of timelines where history became unstable and time itself turned hostile. Battles didn't just happen in space. They happened across centuries simultaneously. Entire civilizations were erased before they even evolved. To win, the Time Lords abandoned their role as guardians of time. They unleashed horrors, the Nightmare Child, the Could-Have-Been King, armies of meanwhiles and neverwheres. In return, the Daleks multiplied endlessly, twisting their own kind into monstrous weapons, rewriting their history to ensure victory. And in the center of it all, the Doctor. Once a man of peace, he became a warrior. In a final desperate act, he stole the most dangerous weapon ever created, the Moment, a sentient device capable of wiping out galaxies. And he used it. Both the Daleks and Time Lords were erased. Gallifrey vanished, and the universe began to heal. But the price? The Doctor believed he had destroyed his own people, committing double genocide to end the war. Only later would the truth surface. Gallifrey wasn't destroyed. It was hidden, locked away in a pocket of time. But the damage was already done. The Time War left scars across the universe, paradoxes, broken timelines, and species that remembered futures that never happened. The Covenant War. In the Halo universe, the Human Covenant War wasn't just a battle for survival. It was a one-sided massacre that nearly wiped out humanity. It began in 2525, when an alien alliance known as the Covenant declared humanity a blasphemy. Not because of politics or territory, but because humans could interface with ancient Forerunner relics. To the Covenant's religion, that was heresy. So they declared a holy war and unleashed genocide. The Covenant wasn't one species. It was a brutal hierarchy of fanatical aliens united by worship of extinct gods, and completely convinced that activating ancient ring worlds called halos would start their great journey. What they didn't know, those rings were actually galactic superweapons designed to wipe out all sentient life to stop the flood, a parasitic horror buried deep in the galaxy's past. Meanwhile, Earth's forces, the UNSC, were outgunned, outmatched, and overwhelmed. Entire colonies were glassed, burned to ash by orbital plasma. Billions died, and Earth itself became the final target. Humanity's only hope, a top-secret project that created the Spartans, genetically enhanced super soldiers. Among them, one name became legend: Master Chief. As the war dragged on, cracks formed inside the Covenant. The truth about the Halo rings came to light. Religious dogma collapsed, and civil war erupted within their ranks. By 2552, after 27 years of devastation, the Covenant fell. But the galaxy was scarred. The flood had awakened, and humanity stood on the edge. Not victorious, but barely alive. The Covenant War was over. But in Halo, peace is never permanent. The Horus Heresy. The Horus Heresy is more than just a civil war. It's the moment the galaxy was shattered from within. Brother turned against brother, and the dream of a unified humanity died screaming. At the heart of it all was Horus Lupercal, the most trusted son of the Emperor of mankind, raised to lead the armies of the Imperium, named War Master, and tasked with bringing order to the stars. But the gods of chaos had other plans. They whispered promises, showed him visions, not lies, but truths twisted just enough. A future ruled by war, with his father worshipped as a god. A future Horus refused to accept. Corrupted and consumed, he rebelled. And with him fell half the Imperium. Over 7 years, the galaxy burned. Worlds were wiped out, legions divided, and the stars bled. It all led to the Siege of Terra, the final battle at the heart of humanity. Horus broke through the solar defenses, stormed Earth, and brought ruin to the Emperor's doorstep. Father and son met one last time, aboard a dying warship amid the wreckage of hope. The Emperor struck Horus down, but at a terrible price. Broken and barely alive, the Emperor was entombed within the Golden Throne, where he remains to this day, a god in stasis, keeping the Imperium alive by sheer will. The heresy ended, but its consequences never did. It turned the dream of unity into a nightmare of eternal war.
And I don't think you can click on the next video in 3 seconds.